Just Stop Oil emerged in 2022 with a mandate that stated, Just Stop Oil is a non-violent civil resistance group demanding the UK government stop licensing all new oil, gas and coal projects. But how true are they to this mandate? And what separates them from other so-called environmentalist groups? In order to answer this, involves going back to just before the beginning of their organisation. There would be no Just Stop Oil without the existence of the two primary environmental groups in Britain, Extinction Rebellion and Insulate Britain. This is because the organisation is made up of organisers from both. According to the Guardian newspaper, Just Stop Oil doesn't just share rhetoric with Extinction Rebellion, it sits within an arc of escalation that began with the group's blockades of 5 Thames bridges in 2018. The key shift in Just Stop Oil is what its supporters say is a move from civil disobedience and into civil resistance. Using the term resistance is very specific. It not only attempts to link the organisation with nostalgic thinking of resisting evil such as the last World War, but also implies that they are in a state of war themselves. But a war with whom? Well, as the targets have all been inside the country, demonstrating that the enemy is not outside of it, but rather the country itself. But let's not jump to conclusions. In order to adequately evaluate the group, we must first go over their history. Just Stop Oil was officially recognised as being formed on the 14th of February 2022, and it's less than a month from this date before the first incident is recorded. As you can see on screen now, is a summary of all the so-called protests that have occurred over the course of the last year and a half, ranging from petty vandalism, willful destruction of property and disruption. All sources for these events will be included in the description of this video. However, for the purposes of the on-screen information, I would like to draw your attention to specific key events over the last 2 or so years. In April, for 19 days, the organisation was set on stopping any form of crude oil being delivered to the southeast of England, especially targeting London. However, the knock-on effect would be felt by areas such as Hertfordshire and Essex in the south of England, and also Warwickshire in the Midlands. This had the potential to create a danger to life scenario, as what may have escaped the intellectual prowess of these so-called protesters is that the hospitals use ambulances, and ambulances use roads. By blocking these roads, the number of times that they did, and for as many days as they did, it risks lives. As is demonstrated from these videos, one of which the protesters block an ambulance and a fire engine, and another where one man clearly felt angry during the 15th consecutive day of protesting in October last year. The second date I want to draw your attention to is this, the 31st of October 2022. In the words of the BBC, Just Stop Oil targeted buildings used by the Home Office, MI5, the Bank of England and News Corp. The group said the buildings were chosen as they represented, quote, the 4 pillars that support and maintain the power of the fossil fuel economy, end quote. With this event, the organisation in every justifiable way has graduated from protesting to terrorism. But don't take my word for this. Take the Crown Prosecution Services. They state, the Terrorism Act 2000 defines terrorism both in and outside of the UK as the use of threat of one or more of the actions listed below, and where they are designed to influence the government or an international governmental organisation or to intimidate the public. The use or threat must also be for the purpose of advancing a political, religious, racial or ideological cause. Those specific actions include serious violence against a person. Well, to be fair, I have not witnessed any serious injury against a person, so they don't qualify for that. Serious damage to property. Absolutely. Through all the sources that are included in this video, you can see for yourself that this certainly qualifies. Endangering a person's life other than that of the person committing the action. Absolutely. A fire engine and ambulance were cut off. People weren't able to go to the doctors. This is a threat to life. This they absolutely do qualify for. Creating a serious risk to the health or safety of the public or a section of the public, and action designed to seriously interfere with or seriously to disrupt an electrical system. In regards to electrical system, I have not seen any evidence that clearly states that Just Stop Oil is responsible, therefore they do not qualify for that. However, creating a serious risk to the health or safety of the public, or a section of the public, they do qualify, as stated with the earlier examples, as well as additional examples you can find in the sourcing. Out of these 5 points, Just Stop Oil is guilty of committing 3. This, by the British state's own definition, makes them a terrorist organisation. Now, up until this point, I would have said they are a domestic terrorist organisation. However, their own website indicates that they have spread to many different parts of the world. I do notice from this list that China, Russia, or India are not on it, that they are somehow not worthy of their environmental protests. Which is odd, considering they are noted as being part of the top 5 carbon polluters on Earth. But I suppose it's just convenient to say it's a Western issue. A notion that brings me neatly to one other aspect that separates this group from other environmental groups. And this aspect comes directly from their own website. The group is not solely targeting environmental issues. They are attacking specific governmental policy to do with economics. This being economics that have nothing to do with the environmental factors. The, quote, cost of living crisis, end quote, as it's so aptly named, is about how local, national, and international economics interact with one another. Just Stop Oil links this to environmentalism, almost through force, because of the fact that we pay for energy. But that isn't an environmental issue, that's a human issue. One of which that can be solved over time with the control of inflation and increase in trade with other nations. The solutions offered by this organisation fall into the realm of Marxist economics. In other words, the state controls the flow of resources and therefore the monetary situation, whether it is up or down. Proof of this can be found in the Policy Exchange Report conducted near the end of 2022, which states the following. A co-founder of Extinction Rebellion, the ubiquitous Roger Hallam, suggests that the only way to deal with problems facing this society is revolution. It further states that these are the familiar political positions of the revolutionary left. Such rhetoric illustrates a divide between the Extinction Rebellion seeking public support on countering climate change and the Extinction Rebellion its founders seek. To Extinction Rebellion's leaders, these protests are about much more than environmental issues. Indeed, as Roger Hallam has stated, environmentalism is dead. The only way forward is revolution. Now, while this quote concerns more Extinction Rebellion than anything else, bear in mind, Just Stop Oil was formed in 2022 from people who belonged to both Extinction Rebellion and Insulate Britain as a coalition organisation. It is still Extinction Rebellion at its heart. This is clear evidence of an intent to undermine the British state, not to protest what a group believes is an injustice. This is a Marxist revolution through environmentalism. So, is Just Stop Oil a terrorist organisation? By every legal and technical definition, yes. But they are not labelled so. Therefore, one can only speculate as to why. I would assume it boils down to only 2 options. Firstly, the government are simply weak and are incapable of acting with any sort of authority in fear of repercussions that could impact them personally. Or, and this is the option I fear more, insiders are financing this group to target and do the things they do. Maybe people inside the government circles who want changes in leadership or different policies on the dossier. But of course, this is just me speculating. The point is this: there is only one group of people that anyone should be siding with when it comes to this organisation, and that's the public. Well, the public and people who do this.